Live from McKeithen Stadium in Gainesville, the SEC Network presents Florida Gators Baseball. Today, the Gators meet the Georgia Bulldogs. Senior day here at the University of Florida. A small group, but a highly heralded one. The Gators honoring Nick Horvath and J.J. Schwartz. Before this game, they've played such instrumental roles, not only in this season, last year's national championship bid, but throughout their careers. Helped the Gators yesterday claim at least a share of the SEC title in 2018, back-to-back seasons. The Gators league champions. Hi again, everybody. Along with Nick Belmonte, I'm Mick Hubert. Mick and Nick here at the ballpark today, and happy Mother's Day, too, by the way. And Nick, a great day for the Gators yesterday, but there's still work to be done for this Florida team.
Absolutely. I talked to Kevin O'Sullivan yesterday, and he said, yes, it's great to win a share of the SEC title, but he said, this is a salty bunch. We don't want to share it with anyone. A win today, they win the outright SEC. And, of course, for Kevin O'Sullivan, that's 5 SEC titles in only his 11th year.
Yeah, the Gators clearly at 41-11, best record in overall 20-6, and the Palm Beach boys honored today for the Gators.
Absolutely. They played for Palm Beach Gardens High School, also the Gators, and they had orange and blue colors. Let's start off with Nick Horvath. He came to the Gators from Santa Fe Community College, played for ex-Gator Johnny Wiggs. And Kevin O'Sullivan said right away, he's going to play defense for me every game, at least a late replacement. Well, he's done more than that. He's become a hitter. 275 this year, 6 home runs. A lot of his hits have been clutch. And then one of the most prolific hitters in Gator baseball history, J.J. Schwartz, from also Palm Beach Gardens. That's the home run he hit, his 11th on Friday, a moon blast to left field, and he does the same thing yesterday, his 12th home run on the year. Now get this weekend, he's hitting 857, 6 for 7, 12, 2 home runs, 4 RBIs, and just absolutely dominating. Look at the record books where J.J. Schwartz is right now, and that's going to continue to grow. One of the greatest hitters in the history of the University of Florida.
Well, we go from the seniors to the freshmen on the mound today for the Gators. Jack Leftwich, 6'2", 203 pounds. He's a freshman right-hander from Orlando. Jack Leftwich, 4-2 record, 3.96 ERA. Nick, it's his 18th game, making just his 7th start.
Yeah, he solidified that starting role as the 3rd starter for the Gators, and he's a starter of the future and a guy that just has an electric arm, and they are just so high on him. He's got the demeanor, he's got the body, he's got the downward angle, and that 96-mile-an-hour fastball also features a slider and a changeup, up-tempo delivery, everything Kevin O'Sullivan wants in his starting pitcher.
So for Georgia and head coach Scott Strickland now in his 5th year, here's how the Dogs will bat today. C.J. Smith, who's going great right now, playing in center field, leading off. Aaron Schunk at third base, batting second. And then the veteran Keegan McGovern in left field. The middle third of the order has the DH Michael Curry, first baseman Adam Sasser, and shortstop Cam Shepard. And the bottom third with L.J. Talley at second base, Mason Meadows behind the plate, and Mitchell Webb getting the start today in right field for the Bulldogs. Georgia comes in 34-16, 15 wins, 11 losses in the league, trying to salvage the final game of the series. The Gators come in 41-11, 20-6. As the SEC champions, the Gators have won 3 in a row, 6 of 7. And Florida has won 15 straight SEC series now with the victory here this weekend over Georgia. Our first pitch today at 1:03 Eastern Time on a beautiful day for baseball here at McKeithen Stadium. We have sunny skies right now, 84 degrees. The wind blowing a crosswind from left over to the right field corner at about 7 miles per hour. C.J. Smith hitting .340, a home run, 5 RBIs, but Leftwich made quick work of Smith.
Yeah, Leftwich got the loss last week, but he actually pitched pretty good. This time he ties him up right here with a fastball in on the hands. He just couldn't catch up to it.
Leftwich is right near a strikeout per inning. That's his 50th strikeout of the year in 52 2/3 innings. That brings up the third baseman, Aaron Schunk, hitting .313. And he loses the bat.
That was a pretty good bat toss. I made it all the way down past third base.
Pretty good throw.
Yeah. I don't know what the record is here, but that'd be close to it.
Schunk he wants to hold on to that bat now because he's got an 18-game hitting streak. Won't let that bat get away. In his 18-game hitting streak, Aaron Schunk is hitting .360, 27 hits in 75 at-bats.
He went with the spray instead of the pine tar. The tacky spray.
Schunk has had a hit in each of the first 2 games, 1 for 4 on Friday, a hit in 3 at-bats yesterday.
You know, I got to thinking about that. If George Brett had that spray can, it would have been a lot less controversy.
Could have changed the face of baseball. Would have lost one of the great video scenes, too. George charging out of the dugout. If you've never seen that, you need to Google that or YouTube it. He came out a madman.
Yeah.
Possessed.
Took away his home run because he had too much pine tar up the back. Billy Martin made the call on.
A high fastball has Schunk joining Smith back on the bench via the strikeout.
And both 2 fastballs up in the zone. Now out of the hand, it looks like something you could absolutely drive, and then it just, you talk about your spin rates. For a ball to stay that high in the zone with that velocity, you got to have a high spin rate.
Keegan McGovern fouls off the first pitch. McGovern has had a good series. He's 2 for 4 in each game. Hitting .324, now leading the Dogs in home runs with 13 and in RBIs, also with 40. He's 5th in the league in home runs, 13th in ribbies. He leads the SEC in runs scored. He's crossed the plate 56 times. Georgia comes in averaging 6.4 runs a game. That's 6th in the league. And their .286 batting average is also 6th in the league. This one popped up. Getting the start today at first base, Brady Smith. And it's a 1-2-3 first inning from Jack Leftwich. Georgia, nothing, and the Gators are coming up. Georgia failing to score in the top of the first inning, and now for Kevin O'Sullivan, here's how he authored the lineup card today. For the Gators, the leadoff hitter will be Deacon Lippett, followed by the DH Nelson Maldonado, and hitting third, playing third, Jonathan India. Will Dalton in right field bats cleanup. The senior J.J. Schwartz behind the plate hits 5th. Austin Langworthy in left field hitting 6th. Brady Smith bats 7th. Blake Reese, the second baseman, bats 8th. And the other senior in center field, Nick Horvath, will bat 9th. On the mound today for Georgia is Kevin Smith. He's 6'5", 233 pounds. Junior from Dunwoody, Georgia. A 6-1 record, 3.55 ERA. His 20th game, however, just his 5th start.
Yeah, he started out as the Friday night guy and moved them into the pen. Now he's back to the starting position. I like the strikeouts, the innings pitched. That's pretty good stuff. He got that 3-quarter delivery, 89 to 92. Works it in, works it out. Tough angle against lefties. And that's going to be something to look at today.
There's Scott Strickland, 5th-year mentor at Georgia, former head coach at Kent State. And the Dogs have their best season going since 2009. And they're hoping to make their regional, which they're in good shape to do. That'd be the first trip to the NCAA tournament for Georgia since 2011. There you get a look at Deacon Lippett. I was talking with Kevin O'Sullivan before the game. I said, Sully, the guy that's had the worst luck this weekend has been Lippett, because he's hit everything beautifully, right on the screws, but had only 1 hit in the series. 1 for 8, but he could well be 5 for 8.
I mean, right now, his swing is exactly the way he wants it. He's hitting everything on the screws. He's getting on top of the ball. Line drives everywhere, like you said, just hitting them right at people, and that's going to change. You keep hitting the ball hard, they're going to fall.
Well, in his last 8 games, despite this 1 for 8 weekend, his last 8 games, he's hitting .414. So you can see the way he's swinging. It's been going good for him over the last couple of weeks. He has 12 hits in his last 29 at-bats and a .296 average for the year.
Ray, when you brought that stat up, it actually surprised me, because if you've been to these games the last 2 days, you would not think he was only 1 for 8. You would think he's having a solid weekend as hard as he's hit the ball.
The 1-2 pitch. They say he held up. Third base umpire is Barry Chambers. Had the plate yesterday. Behind the plate today is Chuck Pack. First base umpire is Clint Lawson. And the crew chief, Jeff Head, is the second base umpire. And he got him right on all hands. So it's been a strikeout fest here in the first.
Yeah, that's what I said. He's tough on lefties, and you saw it right there to lip it. I mean, it comes from way on the first base side and sweeps across. And as a hitter, there's a little bit of hesitation when the delivery comes from that far away on the right side to a lefty.
The first 4 hitters of the game today have seen 3 of them strike out. That brings up the designated hitter, Nelson Maldonado, hitting .282. 7 homers, 36 RBI. He's had a good weekend. 4 for 7. He had 2 for 3 Friday night, 3 RBI. 2 for 4 yesterday, 2 more ribbies.
And that's a pitch that you saw right there that he likes to throw to righties, and that's that back foot slider.
By the way, Nick, happy birthday today for the Georgia pitcher, Kevin Smith there. Turning 21 years old today.
To be 21, huh, Mick? Okay. See, these guys have to understand. It's embrace the moment. One day you're 21 pitching in the SEC, the next you're looking at reversible mortgages. It happens fast.
Down to the third baseman, Aaron Shunk, with the strong arm. He retires Maldonado. Georgia is 7th in the league in fielding, 979, 0.8 errors a game. The Gators are 2nd in the league fielding at 981, at a 0.69 error per game number for Florida. That brings up the Gator third baseman, Jonathan India. Team leading .384 average, 2nd best in the league. India homering yesterday, 26th of his career, 16 on the season. That tied him with Will Dalton, teammate Will Dalton, for 2nd in the league in home runs. He has 40 RBI. The Gators average 7.3 runs a game. That leads the league in run scoring, and it's 10th nationally. The Gators average .290 as a team, hitting 5th best in the league.
Yeah, the combination of that, their good pitching and sparkling defense, this is the reason why they've won 15 straight series.
That's league series, 15 straight league series.
Yeah.
And then you throw in 4 other non-conference. They got 19 consecutive 3-game weekend series won by Florida.
The consistency in all those areas, the hitting, pitching, and defense, that is the recipe right there.
India works the count full. Excuse me, that was ball 4. So a 2-out walk keeps the inning alive for the Gators. India getting his 44th walk of the year. That leads the ball club as he leads the league, as a matter of fact, in walks. He leads the league in on-base percentage, and for good measure, India also is leading the SEC in slugging percentage. As a team, Florida is 3rd in the league in slugging and 7th best in the country at .492 team slugging percentage. Out to the second baseman, Talley, and that will retire the side. No runs, no hits, a walk, a man left. We played 1 inning today, still no score.
I don't know, this is so bad. I wish you didn't have to go.
Well, on this Mother's Day, here's the SEC standings. Florida, the only team in the league with 20 victories and 5 games up on Georgia. The Gators have clinched the East. They've clinched a share, of course, of the SEC title. They need a loss today by Arkansas or a Gator victory today, as Arkansas now has the second best record in the league and a half-game advantage in the Western Division for the Hogs over the Ole Miss Rebels. So we go to the top half of the second inning now. Michael Curry, the Georgia DH.
You know, as important as this game is for the Gators, they want to win the outright SEC. They're going to win the SEC. They want a share of it. But this game, for me, is even way more important for Georgia. I mean, this is a team that's ranked 15th. This is a big RPR game. They're still in the conversation to host. This would be huge for them.
That ball hit well. Horvath going back, gets a beat on it, though. And makes the catch in front of the warning track. And, Nick, I know you appreciate the way Horvath makes plays in center field.
Yeah, I mean, it's all mechanically sound, fundamental sound, knees to the wall, turns around, doesn't lose sight of the ball. They're going to miss him next year. I mean, there's been so many great center fielders, and we've gone through them through the years. And but this guy takes a backseat to no one. And the cool thing about Horvath, he's by far the fastest of all the center fielders we've had come through here. But he's just as good defensively because of the jumps he gets.
Adam Sasser looks at a strike there. Down in the hole, 0-2. Sasser 1 for 7 on the, 0 for 7 on the weekend. He's hitless in his last 9 at bats, as a matter of fact. 322 hitter. And quickly he's gone for the 3rd strikeout today from Leftwich.
These are pretty good hitters he's blowing through right here. Look at the bottom fall out of that changeup. I mean, you got a guy like Leftwich, and here he is blowing 95, 96, touches 97, and then he throws that kind of a changeup to a left-handed hitter.
Cam Shepard, the Georgia shortstop, hitting .255. He's hit 3 homers, 32 RBI. 2 for 3 in yesterday's game. The Gators lead the league in pitching, 3.18 ERA, 13th in the country, and allowing opponents to hit just .226. That's also the best in the league. But after retiring the first 5 Georgia hitters, Cam Shepard gets a 2-out single here in the second inning. Georgia has now 1 hit more than the Gators do in this weekend series. For the weekend, Georgia hitting .278. The Gators hit .317 in the first 2 games.
That's an interesting statistic, actually, because yesterday's game wasn't close.
Yeah, Georgia out-hit Florida yesterday, 11 hits to 10. But the Gators hit 4 home runs and won the game 9-3. So here's L.J. Talley. Was the biggest hit of the weekend for Georgia, and he did it off Brady Singer on Friday night in the 6th inning. A towering grand slam home run into the palm trees in right field. Bouncing ball down there to Smith, and that retires the side. 1 hit, no runs. Man left after an inning and a half. Still no score. Bottom half of the second inning, and on this Mother's Day, Nick, a couple of the moms of the Gator players sitting right there.
Yeah, we got, Rita Byrne, you know her for sure. Michael's mom, and back row, Linda Lippett, and Deacon Lippett and Michael Byrne before the game. They brought flowers and dropped them off for their moms, and when they got to their seats, they were going to be there for them. Linda Lippett is in the row behind in the corner to the right. And Rita was touched by it. There's Michael. He came up in uniform before the game and put the flowers there, as did Deacon Lippett.
So we go to the bottom of the second now. Here's Will Dalton. Dalton and Schwartz flip-flopped in the batting order for today's game. Dalton 0 for 7 on the weekend with just 5 hits in his last 25 at bats. Hitting .268, 16 home runs, second in the league, tied with India, and leading the Gators in RBIs, third in the conference at 50 runs batted in. But he had a good swing on a ball Friday night. Game-winning sacrifice fly as the Gators plated 2 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning to beat Georgia 7-6 in the opening game of the series. Nick, you have to wonder how that took a little wind out of Georgia's sails because they were a little flat yesterday. The Gators steamrolled them with 4 home runs.
Yeah, Coar was outstanding when he needed to be, and then the big Blake Reese grand slam. Of course, Maldonado's home run as well. Schwartz could easily hit 2 home runs yesterday.
Well, yeah, he said the one that was foul, he said it was 30 feet fair and ended up about 30 feet foul.
Yeah, I mean, off the bat, you're thinking, oh, okay, that's a Schwartz blast down the line, and then it went foul. You get that as good as any of them yesterday.
So a 3-2 walk for Will Dalton.
And that's a good sign. I mean, Will's been scuffling this weekend, but to be patient on a 3-2 and a weekend where you're 0 for 7, that's good stuff.
Now, Austin Langworthy will step in. A .297 average with 19 runs batted in. 1 for 5 on the weekend, but he has drawn 3 walks with 2 Friday night and 1 yesterday. Hey, Max. Good to see John Magnuson stop by the booth. Veteran umpire now looking over the SEC umpires. There's Langworthy going left. Opposite field, base hit. So we have runners at first and second for Florida and no one out.
Yeah, a nice chat with his dad, Jason Langworthy, yesterday. Fine young player for the Gators. And Langworthy's one of those guys you just need on your ball club. He just contributes in so many different ways. And we haven't seen him pitch that much this year, but that's in the arsenal. Sully needs him in postseason play.
Brady Smith getting the start against the left-hander today. So Brady at first base, batting .303, 2 for 4 yesterday. It was 2 for 2 against USF in the game here on Tuesday night. 2 homers, 13 RBI. Kevin Smith, the left-hander, on the mound for Georgia. A 6-1 record. In the 3rd game of the SEC series this year, the Gators are 5-3. For a ball club that's only lost 6 games, you can see they have some vulnerability in Game 3. Half of their league losses have been in the final game of the series. 5-3. And a 259 batting average on what is the traditional Sunday game.
Yeah, that last stat you brought up, and that's the one that really raises the eyebrows because 259 is low. Because you think you're going to face the guy's 3rd best pitcher, it would be higher than that. That's why this game's so hard to figure out.
2 balls, 1 strike on Smith. Fouled that breaking ball off.
But this is a guy right here who's going to be counted on heavy next year for power. Take away one, slam dunk. India's going. He's going to be drafted very high. And Schwartz graduating. That's a lot of home runs leaving the program. And it's all said and done, it's going to be 30-plus home runs from 2 guys totaling. And Smith's going to be a guy that's going to be thrusted somewhere towards the middle of that lineup.
2-2 pitch.
And we've seen the power. It's there. He's got gap power, he's got home run power, he's got opposite field power.
There go the runners. And they'll both be safe. Smith strikes out, but the runners advance to second and third. Gators are third in the league in stolen bases, by the way. That's 57 of them.
Yeah, you'll see Dalton. I mean, he gets a great jump, and you could do that off a left-handed pitcher. They have long and slow delivery times traditionally, and I think that's the case here. Dalton got a great jump. In fact, that throw shouldn't even have been made down there. Only bad things could have happened.
So now a chance for the Gators to get a couple of runs. Blake Reese steps in. Switch hitter, bats right-handed against this left-hander Kevin Smith. And you see Blake Reese, 253 average with 4 homers, 38 RBI. Had a big hit here yesterday, his first career grand slam home run. This will get a run. Shepard at short, throws him out. Dalton scoring. And the Gators lead it 1-0.
That's all you need to do. Infield playing back, put it in play. He's got some RBIs this weekend, huh? Number 5 on the weekend, the grand slam. Yesterday, as you mentioned. There's still work to do. The senior coming up here with a runner in scoring position, Nick Horvath. Look at that.
Langworthy remained at second base on that play. And now Nick Horvath. First pitch, fly ball, center field to C.J. Smith, and the inning is over. But the Gators use a walk and a hit to score a run, and after 2, 1-0 Florida. Top of the third inning here at the ballpark, with the Gators now leading at 1-0. Mick and Nick here at the ballpark, and we're joined now by a special guest, familiar face, head coach Steve Spurrier. Steve, good to be with you. Thanks for coming by.
Hey, thanks, Mick. I was here yesterday also when we clinched at least a share of the SEC title. I saw Coach Sully earlier today. He had some recruits in. I tried to spread a little message about what a wonderful situation Florida baseball is, and hopefully these guys will come with us. But anyway, to win the SEC and to win it the 15th time in 85 years, Mick, sometimes we take it for granted when we win it back-to-back years like Coach Sully has done. And then our women's softball team won the tournament, won the regular season 4 years in a row, and just wonderful. A lot of people think these things happen all the time, and when you look back even at football, we've got 9 in 85 years, and that's all we got. So we need to celebrate these SEC championships.
Well, indeed, they can't ever be taken for granted, because that would be short-sighted on all those who labor so long and hard, not only during the course of what we consider the season, and a lot of the fans consider game 1 to the last game of the season, but this has become 52 weeks. They're training all the time, and all the sports here that way, college nowadays.
Oh, it's big time, and the thing I always emphasize with our players, Mick, you can create those memories of a lifetime. And these guys, all the players on the baseball team here, they got them a championship now, and they got a national last year, and obviously another shot at a national this year. So, and now that I'm 20, 25 years out from coaching the Gators here, we got our 93 SEC team coming back this year. And that was our 3rd SEC championship way back then. So it's nice to celebrate those championships.
Coach, I got to ask you, when you were playing here for the Gators, did you come down and watch Coach Fuller's baseball teams on occasion with your teammates?
Yeah, I came occasionally. Alan Trammell and Tommy Shannon were both baseball players. In fact, Coach Graves actually allowed the football players to play baseball. I came down here one afternoon. I was out in the outfield catching some flying balls, and I caught one behind my back. I could sort of do that. It was sort of a challenge, but Coach Fuller said, "What are you doing?" I said, well, Coach, anybody can catch one right the normal way. But anyway, I decided to go to spring football and let baseball alone and sort of try to specialize in football.
Well, before I played baseball here in Florida, I also played high school football at North Miami High School, and one of your old teammates was one of my coaches, Jerry Anderson.
Yeah, Coach Jerry, and he coached D-line here the first several years we were here. Excellent coach, good guy, and yeah, he was a teammate of mine here at Florida.
Well, you mentioned Alan Trammell, and you know he's in the record book in 1965, the highest single-season batting average in Gator history.
He still got it. Still got it. You know, he's got an NCAA record. He drove in, I want to say, 11 or 12 runs in one inning. He came to bat against Kentucky with the bases loaded 3 times in one inning, and that's a miracle there. But he drove in something like 11 runs on those trips. So he's got the all-time record there. And I don't know if that'll ever be broken.
There's a 2-out base hit for the leadoff man, C.J. Smith. Yep. Second hit of the game today for Georgia.
Yeah, today's day and age, you wouldn't even pitch the guy his third time up after hitting what he did. But Alan Trammell, I remember when I was a player here, he was an assistant football coach. What a great guy. He used to come to a lot of the baseball games.
Yeah, we tell him all the time he should have tried to play pro baseball instead of football.
Right.
I think he went to the Houston Oilers, lasted about a half a preseason one year, and that was about his football career, but he could hit the baseball.
Aaron Chunk follows C.J. Smith with a base hit. So the top of the order for Georgia in the 1-2 hole with a pair of 2-out singles against Jack Leftwich, who had cruised through the first 2 innings. He had made just 25 pitches in the first 2 innings, but in a little 2-out trouble here as he faces a good hitter in Keegan McGovern.
Coach, what do you think of the new stadium being built and all the things that's happening with the spring sports? Pretty great.
Yeah, it is. It's. I was telling Scott Strickland yesterday, I said, man, this is a beautiful ballpark to have to tear down, but the progress, you got to do it. And this is the perfect place for the new football building. With the indoor facility and all the practice fields right over here, this is about the only place we can put it. And putting baseball a little bit off campus up there is not going to be a problem at all. South Carolina actually got theirs downtown. They're completely off campus. So people will come. You got a good product, they'll come. So the new baseball stadium will really be nice.
McGovern hits this ball a mile, and it is long gone over the right center field fence. Third straight Georgia hit in the inning as Keegan McGovern, a 3-run shot for his 14th home run of the year. RBIs 41, 42, and 43, and Georgia with the lead.
Yeah, cement mixer slider, just left it up around the belt. Gets his foot down. Watch him right here on the contact. This is a big, powerful hitter. Foot's down and nice and through with the hands. Hips rotate nicely, and the kid generates all kinds of power. And that's one of the reasons why they're ranked 15th in the nation. Their middle of their lineup is pretty impressive this season.
I tell you what, our right fielder didn't even move when that ball was hit. He said, that's gone. I have no chance. It may have cleared the scoreboard. That was a long blast. It really was. In fact, I may need to get out of here since I've come up here today. We can't get the Bulldogs out, Nick. I better go back to my other seat. So enjoyed talking to you guys, but congrats again to Coach Sully winning the SEC, and hopefully we'll go all the way again this year. See you guys.
Thank you so much, Steve. By the way, Steve, there's a 4th straight hit. Coach Spurrier joining us here in the booth here in the top of the inning as Kevin O'Sullivan goes out to the mound now to check with Jack Leftwich. Thanks, Steve. And so Sully will have to try and settle down Leftwich here, Nick. He was sailing along until he got to the top of the order here the second time around.
Yeah, and everything's been hit on the screws here with 2 quick outs. And Sully's just trying to, first of all, he's just going to give him a little bit of a rest here after the 2 quick outs. And once you give up a blast like that, you know, mentally, you just think about this. He gave up a few home runs last week when on balls up. He did the same thing here on the hanging slider, and just trying to refocus what we're doing. And
he did.
You know, Coach said, hey, you know, I'm superstitious. I got to leave. They're scoring a lot of runs here.
He's changing booths on us.
Yeah. See if that works.
Well, here's Adam Sasser now. Struck out swinging his first at-bat. That was the Bulldogs' 48th home run of the year. They're 7th in the league. Georgia has homered now in 6 of its last 7 games.
Nice change-up right there. I was talking to Georgia head coach Scott Strickland before the game and about why this team has blossomed this year. And a lot of it has to do with guys that have been with the program 2-3 years now, all coming together. That's been the big key for them. Yeah, you always hear that term, hey, we're young. That's why we're not doing well. We're young. Well, certainly at a certain point, these young guys are going to get older, and this is what we're seeing, the fruits of all that work.
Yeah, because when that doesn't happen, you really put the whole program in peril, because it's this thing where,
right,
there's good news and bad news.
Yeah.
The good news, we got everybody back. Bad news, we got everybody back. They liner to Langworthy to end the inning, but Georgia does its damage. Single, and then the 3-run home run by Keegan McGovern has given the Bulldogs a 3-1 lead. So we move now to the bottom half of the third inning. And Georgia with a 3-1 lead now on a 3-run home run by McGovern. So for Kevin Smith, he pitches with a 2-run cushion as the Gators will make their second appearance at the plate. Top of the lineup here in the third. Deacon Lippett, Nelson Maldonado, and Jonathan India. Lippett struck out swinging his first at-bat. Now hitting at .294.
That's a good idea, showing bunt. With Deacon Lippett, there's a couple ways he'd go with that bunt. Third base, obviously, and then bunting it towards the first base side, because they're playing him deep. He just gets it down heading that way with the left-handed pitcher. It's an easy hit.
Lippett drove in a run 8 straight games for the Gators on March 10th to the 24th. He had 11 RBIs in that 2-week span.
Yeah, that's not easy to do from the leadoff spot.
And that was after he became eligible. He started out 0 for 10 after he sat out the first 14 games. But then after the 0 for 10, he started ripping the cover off the ball. He's hitting over 400 in his last 8 games.
That's that little drop down sweeping slider. Watch this. Watch the angle change. He's going to get down. So he drops down with 2 strikes, and as a hitter, you think it's coming from like 3 feet behind you, and somehow it crosses over to the other side of the plate. That's nasty.
So 1 away for Maldonado. Grounded out to the third baseman, Shunk, first at bat. In winning the first 2 games of the series, the Gators have now played 23 games against teams in the top 25. And Florida has won 18 while losing 5. Georgia is 7-9 against top 25 opponents. And for Kevin O'Sullivan, boy, the beat just keeps on. 489 wins for Sully, 219 losses. That's 69% winning margin. And he's only the 4th ever SEC coach to have 5 league titles.
Yeah,
that's amazing. He's had only the 4th coach in the history of the league to have 5 league titles. And he's done it all in the last 9 years. Ball hit well, but right to the left fielder McGovern at the track, 2 out.
Well, 2 off the top of my head are easy. Ron Polk and the great Ron Polk and the great Skip Burtman. And Skip Burtman has 7 titles in 18 seasons, from '84 to 2001.
Jonathan India. 0 for 1 today. 3 for 8, though, on the weekend. And a line shot. Boy, he was aiming right for Jeff Head, the second base umpire. Had to duck out of the way.
Skip a little rope, Jeff Head over there.
So India now with a 4-hit series.
look at Jeff Head. That almost got. That was finding me. Look at him. Yeah.
You know, he's second base umpire, but he was out there in left center field thinking, I'm pretty safe out here.
He was like a magnet.
Whether you're wearing a glove or not wearing a glove, the ball will find you.
It'll find you. That's right. Even
that includes us here in the booth. We got to be aware.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Here's J.J. Schwartz. I remember a game I was broadcasting on radio at Kentucky in 1993. In the Kentucky screen behind the plate did not extend as high as this, and then they had a netting that ran right up to the top, to the bottom of the press box.
Right,
In
left
other
you
words,
exposed.
yeah, a ball could hit the screen and run right up into your face. But on this particular game, this was a foul ball that wasn't on the screen. It was coming right back, straight at me.
Wow.
And I literally had about a split second where I froze. I froze and I realized it, and I just snapped my head to the left about 4 inches. Just a quick head snap, and the ball came back, hit the metal door in the press box behind us. This will be a ground ball out. Left a dent in the door, and it stayed there until they remodeled their stadium a few years later. It was there for about 10 years. Every other year I'd go back and see that dent on the door. Well, here are the 3-inning totals. 3 runs, 5 hits for Georgia, 1 run, 2 hits for Florida. Neither team has committed an error. As we come to the top of the 4th inning, a very beautiful day here at the ballpark. We got some overcast skies. No one's complaining. It's still 84 degrees. It might be 94 if it wouldn't be for the cloud cover. So people are enjoying that. In the second to the last season at this ballpark, of course, when the Gators open the new stadium in 2020, there will be a second deck and there will be a roof. And a lot of people will be so happy to be sitting in the shade. Cam Shepard now 0-2.
I was perusing the stands in yesterday's game and got to sit down with some of the fans in chat, and the great Tom Moore, Gator 2-time All-American baseball player, was on hand. Drove over from Tallahassee with his family. Always great seeing Tom. One of the greats ever wear the uniform here. Of course, Tom's interesting. He went from the Gators and signed to play professional fast pitch softball, which at the time he's in the fast pitch softball Hall of Fame.
Memory serves him. He threw a no-hitter here. Or maybe not. I thought he was.
He was an outfielder.
Yep. Okay. But in the fast pitch Hall of Fame?
Yes. Which I believe is somewhere down near Clearwater, actually.
Two and two to Shepard. Shepard hitting .259 and fouling another ball off down the left side.
Yeah,
high and deep on the Disney Plaza.
Tom Moore played, I think he played right before the Steve Spurrier era here. But Coach Spurrier mentioned in Alan Trammell. And Coach Trammell, he used to sit down with us at Yon Hall, the dining hall, just sit and chat with us. He's the defensive backs coach at the time. But he used to love hanging out with the baseball players because it's part of his history and such a good one.
Good quality at bat for Shepard as a leadoff batter here in the 4th inning. Pitch number 9, huh? Or 10 of the at bat. And he coaxes a walk to start it off at 11 pitches to draw a walk for Cam Shepard.
Yeah, and this is coming off an inning where you scored 3 runs. You got the shutdown point. And right now, Georgia has all the momentum in this one. And did they decide to play station to station here? This is going to be interesting. What they're going to have Talley do. Does he bunt or swing away?
Talley has a 6-game hitting streak, 7 for 21 during the streak. And over the last 10 games, LJ Talley hitting .343. He's really brought that average up. Hitting .260 now, so it gives you an idea where it was 3 weeks ago. The junior from Folkestone, Georgia, he turned 21 last Monday. He had a 4-hit game at Alabama on March 16th, the opening weekend of the SEC series. And of course, yesterday had the big blow on this hit right here.
Yeah, off of Brady Singer. And just took a pitch inside and made a nice adjustment, barreled it up. It got out of here in a hurry, and that usually will happen when a guy's throwing 95.
That was off Singer in the Friday night game. Georgia has hit and run on, but they're going to hold the runner Shepard at second base on the ball hit out to left. Opposite field base hit for Talley, who now extends that hitting streak to 8 games in a row.
And now Kevin O'Sullivan has got a decision to make how far he wants to go. He's 60 pitches in. And let's face it, the last 2 innings are getting good swings. He's not fooling anybody at this point, and this is what will concern you. Now, again, now you're in a situation where a bunt, one would think in order, but do you have the guy up there that could lay it down? That's always something that a coach has to consider. The fans always say, well, it's a bunt situation, but Mason Meadows has 1 sacrifice bunt on the year. And he is expecting it.
That's a good bunt, too. That's going to be a base hit. Leftwich slipped a little. I'm not sure if that would have made a difference. That was a well-placed bunt. And Georgia has loaded the bases with nobody out.
Yeah, they're going to run a play where Leftwich was going to attack and India was going to go back at third base. Watch India retreat here on contact. That ends up being a mistake. It just happened to be a bunt in the perfect place, but the slippage is what made this happen. And now you're in a real precarious situation.
Well, Shepard got it started with the 11 pitch at bat when he walked, and then Talley singled to left, and now this bunt single by Meadows, and nobody loose in the bullpen. Kevin O'Sullivan staying with Jack Leftwich. And Nick, as we surmised in the game on Friday night, I was talking with Sully earlier today, and he was going to go out there on Friday night to get Brady Singer. Mm-hmm. And Sully said, for just the second time in my career, I allowed a pitcher to change my mind.
Yeah. Well, a couple things go into play there. It's Brady Singer. He's so fired up. I mean, he's got that great bulldog mentality. No pun intended, but yeah, he wants the ball. Plus, that was going to be his last regular season start here. One would think, because he's going to get drafted high. I think a lot of those things came into play. He did not want to leave the ball game.
And Sully said, normally when I leave the dugout, before I cross the skin there and get to the grass, I've usually made a call, lefty or righty. He said, I didn't do that this time. And so when I got to the mound, I hadn't made a decision. Overtly, in my mind, I had made a decision.
Right.
But I hadn't called for anybody. And I talked, and he said, I want to stay in. And
well, we had
a few other things, and he stayed in.
Yeah, you credit our producer, Mike Griffin, and the guys, the directors. They had a great shot of that whole conversation, and what was going on in the facial expression of Singer, and I felt like I was on the mound with him at the time, and while it was unfolding, I said, he's talking him out of it, which again we never see.
Yeah, right. It was a great shot. It was like we had cap cam right there in the mound. This is an infield fly rule. First out as Webb is retired. But here's where the damage started for Georgia in the third when they got back to the top of the lineup. First part of the lineup, first time through, was no problem for Leftwich, but in the third with 2 out and nobody on base, C.J. Smith singled. But then Shunk singled, and then McGovern followed with a home run. And it's 3-1 Georgia now. And keep this in mind, Georgia has hit 6 Grand Slam home runs. School record. Tally getting the Grand Slam on Friday night off Singer that we showed you a while ago. So here is Smith. Lippett gets it done nicely. Shepard coming in on the RBI ground out. And Georgia leads 4-1.
Hey, good things happen when you put it in play. Gators playing double play depth. Lippett, no chance for a double play there. Comes in on a nice little short hop. Watch the soft hands here. You can see there's no time for a double play. That play he makes look easy.
So everybody advanced. Runners are now at second and third for Aaron Shunk. 1 for 2 today. First pitch swinging out to Will Dalton in right. And the inning is over.
Nick, that could have been a lot worse.
They got 1 on 2 hits and leave 2. We go to the last of the 4th inning with the Dogs leading it 4-1. Right here.
Yeah, you know there's a few in this ball game right here that'll be playing at the big league level down the road.
Here's Will Dalton leading off the home 4th inning against the Georgia left-hander Kevin Smith, who's in good shape right now. He's got a 4-1 lead as Kevin Smith with a 6-1 record pitching on his 21st birthday today. Got a victory last week at Missouri in 5 1/3 innings, gave up just 3 hits and 1 run. Looking for a second win in as many starts. His career record at Georgia for Kevin Smith is 16 wins, 7 losses. Came into this game today with a 4.19 career ERA from Dunwoody High School. Dalton walked to lead off the second. He has scored the Gators' only run. He's been scuffling with 7 hits over his last 38 at-bats, just a 184 average. He was over 300 there for a while, but now dipping just below 270. But you know, a guy like that, you know, everybody goes through those little slumps, and we're just approaching the SEC tournament here next week after the weekend. Plenty of time for guys like that to get hot. Dalton could ride a hot streak right on into Omaha if the Gators are so fortunate to make it.
Well, he's nasty. I mean, he just whips that ball. Again, it looks like it's coming from Micanopy, and then he just snaps down there. And you just give up on it as a right-handed hitter. You're thinking, from that release point and where it starts out, no way it's going to catch the corner. So it just looks like a ball. That's why lefties are so effective.
The 4th strikeout for Smith. Now here's Austin Langworthy. Langworthy, he didn't try and do too much his last at bat. He just rode an outside pitch, shot it through the 6 hole into left field for a hit.
You know, it's funny, you talk about lefties that hate face left-handed pitchers, left-handed hitters I'm talking about. There's a lot of righties that hate to face left-handed pitching. You don't think that, but it's true. If you think that stats will bear out that all the hitters in the Hall of Fame that were right-handed hit better against lefties and righties, you'd be wrong. It's not always the case.
Called a strike by the home plate umpire, Chuck Pack. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The Gators are bidding for their 3rd SEC sweep of the year. Swept Vanderbilt, swept Missouri. And the remarkable thing, when you talk about sweeps under Kevin O'Sullivan, the Gators have been involved in 32 sweeps as Sully is the head coach. And the Gators have won 29. Florida has been swept only 3 times in the Sully era, and 1 came in his first season. And the other one, another one last year at Auburn, and then there was 1 in between. So just 3 times have the Gators failed to win a game in the SEC, but while sweeping 29 opponents.
To show you how consistent Georgia has been, this is the first game they've played where it's even possible of them being swept.
In league play.
In league play in the SEC, yeah, they usually won the first or second night of a series or both.
Because Georgia is trying to avoid a sweep here today. They were swept once already this year, but it was at the College of Charleston. On March 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, they dropped a 3-game series. In fact, that was part of a 4-game losing streak. That's the longest losing streak Georgia endured all year to this point. They won 7 of their first 8 games, and then Georgia put together a fine streak from March 17th to March 30th. The Dogs won 9 in a row. Well, they've had a very consistent and solid season.
Yeah, College of Charleston has kind of been a thorn this year to SEC team. They beat, now get this, College of Charleston, I don't know if people remember this, a Wednesday night, they beat South Carolina 9-0.
1 ball, 1 strike on Brady Smith.
And just double check, College of Charleston 4-0 against SEC teams this year. 34-16 overall, 14-7 in their conference play.
Well, they'll be claiming an SEC championship. Georgia gets 3 runs today in the 3rd on the Keegan McGovern home run as they lead 4-1. Bottom of the 4th. So 2-2 on Smith. The next pitch will be the 60th by the pitcher, Smith. He's 6'5", 233 pounds. Again, he fouls it out of play. The Gators have only 2 hits in this game. Langworthy single in the 2nd, India singled in the 3rd. Slow roller, Shunk Langworthy advances to second base.
And Shunk, a guy that this game stays close, I'm sure we're going to see back in the ball game, as he is also their closer. Made a tough play look easy with that strong arm.
So Langworthy at second now with 2 gone. And here's Blake Reese.
It's one of those at-bats where, man, if you could scratch across a run right here, cut the lead in half, be huge. Here's the grand slam from yesterday. Pitch was like middle, outer third a little bit. He was sitting on it.
His last 2 hits have been home runs.
And that ball that he hit yesterday was right around the scoreboard. May even have cleared it. He's fighting this one off. Little emergency hack right there, 0-2. Yeah, you got to do that. Try to get him to chase. Now, a couple ways he can go here. He could try to go backdoor slider or do back foot slider. One would be in the outer third. One would be way in towards the back foot of the right-handed hitter.
Now the 1-2 pitch. Again, fouled back.
Yeah, fastball again. On a warm day, but as you mentioned, overcast, 64, now 65 pitches.
And 22 of them coming in this inning. Langworthy at the bottom of your screen. He's leading off second base.
Tried the back door.
The Georgia pitching staff is second in the league in opponent batting average. Opponents hitting just .230. Two balls, 2 strikes with 2 out. And now a full count. Good job to lay off there by Reese. Nick Horvath would be next.
Yeah, you'd love to see the senior get up there and try to tie this thing up.
Here's a look at the senior honored before today's game, along with J.J. Schwartz. Fly ball to the left for McGovern. No runs, no hits, a walk, a Gator left on base. Florida has stranded 3 as they trail by 3. J.J. Schwartz and family before the game. Nick Horvath and family before the game. Their last regular season home game as Gator seniors here at McKeithen Stadium. It's always a bittersweet time. Happens usually about 10-15 minutes before the first pitch. You got to go back and regroup and go play. Certainly an emotional moment for those guys. But with perhaps as many as 20 more games total, they've got a lot of work to do if the Gators want to duplicate last year's never been done before feat when the Gators won their first national championship at the College World Series a season ago. Congratulations in order to Mandy O'Leary and the Gator lacrosse team. Florida just beat Colorado 13-9. And they'll go on and meet James Madison, either May 19th or 20th, you see there. James Madison is third seed. So Florida winner today, 13-9 at LAX.
Andrew Baker heading down to the pen.
Yeah, along with Hunter Mullen. There's a base hit to center field.
It's interesting watching how both teams play defense. Georgia has had their second baseman playing right where that ball went into center field all day long, and has worked out for him.
Tell you what, this series has really worked out for Keegan McGovern.
Yeah.
2 hits Friday, 2 hits Saturday, 2 hits and counting today. Now Michael Curry.
Yeah, I love the city Keegan's from.
Well, you're talking about Willacoochee.
Willacoochee, Georgia. Did you ever see the movie Renaissance Man?
I believe I did.
Yeah. Danny DeVito. Mark Wahlberg, his character, Tommy Lee Hayward, was from Willacoochee, Georgia.
There's McGovern at first. Curry singled in the third. He has a hit and 2 at-bats. Curry was first team All-SEC last year in the DH role. 29 career home runs. Didn't like that one on the inside corner.
A little polite conversation, just asking where it was. He said, I disagree, but you're allowed to inquire. You can't critique, though. You can only inquire. It's usually the way to do it.
So you can say, where was that pitch?
Exactly.
And he says, inside corner. Can you say, really? And he said, yes, it was. You go, you think it was there? How long can you keep asking questions?
You sound like the argument I used to make right there. Wow. Ooh, I just got chills.
Well, that's what 29 years together will do.
That's right. Oh, my goodness.
Nick, the good Lord willing.
Yes.
We'll be back for our 30th year together next year. This is our final game together here. Streaming your way on the SEC Network Plus today. Just past Brady Smith. McGovern turns the corner. Georgia runners on the corners now at first and third. 1 away.
Yeah, pitch count now around 82, 83, and you got to think Sully's not going to wait too much longer. They cannot afford to have Georgia run away and hide in this one. Gators are very fortunate last inning only to surrender 1 run with a bases loaded, nobody out situation.
You know, as we talked at the outset, how big this is for Georgia, trying to pick up a big RPI win and stay high in the standings, stay in contention for a regional host site. That's a very big out there. A healthy fly ball would have given Georgia a run. Instead, Shepard fouls out for the second out. But as important as it is for Georgia, it's equally important for Florida. The Gators want to sweep this thing and not worry going into Starkville next weekend about owning the outright league championship. And if the Gators were to do that, that would give Sully an interesting situation next week in terms of his lineup, giving some guys some rest, looking at some different pitchers, just doing some things knowing there's no pressure because you're the outright league champions. But that's next week. Right now the Gators make a pitching change, and we'll get you up to date in just a moment. Georgia leading 4-1 and threatening with runners on the corners and 1 out. And the Gators change pitchers now as Jack Leftwich has vacated. And on the mound for the Gators, there's Andrew Baker.
And a guy that has really come into his own is one of Kevin O'Sullivan's top lefties coming out of the pen. He and Jordan Butler have been a nice tandem out of Haines City, Florida. Sparkling numbers, great ERA, strike thrower, up-tempo guy, 90 plus. Good. And his breaking balls are very similar to the one the Gators are seeing from the Georgia starter. Same type of arm angle.
Left, which, by the way, left after 4 2/3 innings, 9 hits, 4 runs, all 4 earned. He walked 1, struck out 5. Left, which threw 83 pitches, 54 were strikes.
And Baker's last appearance was against USF. And that was a big appearance because it really stopped USF's offensive game that night. They really had it going. And allowed the Gators to come back and end up winning that ball game.
Yeah, he was the key.
Yeah, he's the one that came in and really said, okay, you guys aren't scoring anymore.
Horvath. Inning over. And we go to the bottom of the 5th. Georgia leading at 4-1. Mick and Nick back here at the ballpark. Bottom half of the 5th inning. Georgia with a 4-1 lead, trying to salvage the final game of the series. And Kevin Smith has been good today for Georgia. He's allowed Florida just 2 hits in the first 4 innings. Smith has struck out 4 as well. 6 wins and 1 loss on the year for Smith. He'll look at the 9, 1, and 2 in the lineup, beginning with Nick Horvath here in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Horvath nothing for 1 after a fly ball out to C.J. Smith in center field. One of Horvath's biggest hits in his career came 2 seasons ago. Then, as a sophomore, he had a game-winning home run in the 9th inning to beat South Carolina 5-4 in Columbia. That was on April 29th, 2016. He has 8 career home runs.
Yeah, and that was a very improbable home run because he was not seeing a lot of offensive playing time and got put in the game, hit that big home run, ended up being the game winner.
Another reason for Florida, they're trying to beat a school record for SEC wins in a year. That number is 22. And so they have 20, 4 games to play, including this one. 20-6 right now and 41-11. It's the 5th year in a row, by the way, they've won 40 because the Gators have won 52 games each of the last 3 seasons. But they got their work cut out for them now as we're in the middle part of today's game against the Georgia southpaw, Kevin Smith,
who continues to be a tough customer.
Leadoff man Deacon Lippett has struck out twice against the left-hander. Gators will be at Mississippi State next weekend. Starts on Thursday, concludes on Saturday. From there, the Gators will then make their way over to Hoover for the tournament the following week. It was against Mississippi State 2 years ago that Lippert had 2 hits in the 8th inning of a game. 2 hits in the 8th inning with a single and a double that actually came in the SEC tournament. May 26, 2 years ago. Always a rarity to get a couple of hits in an inning.
Yeah, you hear stories about guys making 2 outs in an inning.
But how about the story that Coach Spurrier told us earlier today?
About Alan Trammell. That was Xbox stuff right there. How many RBIs did he say he got in?
Recalling he had 10 or 11 RBIs in 1 inning, not 1 game. We've seen that. We've seen 10 RBIs in a game. J.J. Schwartz did that against Stetson his freshman year, but he was talking about an inning. Steve joined us for the top of the 3rd inning, and that's the conversation, and the game was sailing along smoothly. First 2 Georgia guys went out, and then all of a sudden it was 4 hits in a row, including a 3-run home run, and Steve said, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
And he went over to the booth 2 spots to our left.
I hate to say it, it worked because they did not score after that. So he knew what he was doing, right? From a superstition standpoint.
Maldonado 0 for 2. He's had 4 hits on the weekend already, with 2 Friday, 2 yesterday. A full count now to Maldonado. Hit toward right at Mitchell Webb of the glove. Gators go out in order, and Georgia leads 4-1. Well, there's one of the pregame honorees, senior J.J. Schwartz. And now he's being moved to first base, where he's equally as comfortable, giving him a little breather from behind the plate as he actually flops, changes positions with the first baseman, Brady Smith, who's now the Gator catcher. So Baker and Smith, the Gator battery. Great job by Andrew Baker coming in last inning, and Georgia threatened.
And again, you know, we talk about Brady Smith, be counted on a lot offensively next year. He's going to be one of the guys behind the plate, have a chance to be the starting catcher. Came into this program very heralded at that position from high school.
Mason Meadows had a beautiful bunt single his last at bat, but that is the final strike of this at bat, so he's 1 for 3 today.
Good stuff right there. It looks like a fastball out of the hand. It just dies.
Mitchell Webb is 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a pop out. Webb from Dallas, Georgia. One hit in his last 15 at bats. Tough play, boy. India. Like glue in the glove there.
And again, when he signs his big contract, which will probably this summer, chances are you won't see him at third base right off the bat. You'll probably see him back at his high school position at shortstop. doesn't mean he won't end up there or second down the road. You put that kind of money into a top round guy, you want to make sure that, hey, he's got the ability to play shortstop and develop there. That's the spot that you're going to get your best return on your investment if you're a major league organization.
0-2 on C.J. Smith.
And I do believe the story of Hall of Famer Chipper Jones when he signed out of the Bull School. He went right to the shortstop position in the minor leagues. I remember he made a ton of errors early in his career in the minor leagues. Of course, he's found a home in the infield, the big leagues, but not at shortstop.
Well, Smith has worked the count full now.
Adam, yeah.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Strike 3 called in the outside corner. So Baker fans 2 as he sets Georgia down in a row. He's retired 5 straight, but the Gators still trail. Bottom half of the 6th inning, and we say hello and goodbye to Hank. Hank's going nowhere, but this is a part of the crew. There's Dave Houts and all of our camera people here who have been with us all season long, working the ball games here at McKeithen Stadium. All of our crew, we thank you all for doing what you do. All the locations around this ballpark, capturing all these headlines as they're being made. Working on the crew here for the SEC Network Plus, as well as our producer, director Mike Griffin, and all those people back in the control room as well. It takes a village, they say, to make this work, and we're so happy to be a part of it again as we broadcast Florida Gators baseball this year on the SEC Network Plus, our final telecast of the year. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning, and Nick, half of the Gator runs this weekend have come here in the 6th inning. They had a 6 spot in the 6th yesterday, 2 in the 6th Friday night, and they need a bunch of runs right now, trailing 4-1.
Yeah, that has been their best inning to score all season long. And the guy that going to lead this thing off, where's number 6?
Almost 20% of the Gator runs have come in the 6th inning through the year. 71 runs out of 381, around 19%.
Oh, he's been tough. Look at Kevin Smith.
Well, you take nothing away from what Kevin Smith is doing. He's been outstanding, and that's just a flat-out fact. It does come on a day in which the Gators honored a couple of seniors, a day after they've won a league championship. You know, you're not making excuses, but you're telling the reality that they wanted to have that sweep mentality today. When you put the uniform on, you play to win, but you also have some mitigating factors in there too. That then you go and look at a left-hander like Kevin Smith today, who's been on his game, and the Gators are swimming upstream. Three and nothing to Schwartz. 0 for 2 today for JJ. He's been red hot. He has 17 hits his last 33 at bats. 8-game hit streak on the line. In fact, JJ has a hit in 15 of his last 16 games. And over that 16-game stretch, he was hitting .467. Gave him the green light on that pitch and chased it up and away. The count now full.
Yeah, it's a big pitch in this game. I mean, JJ wants to get something going, and he's smelling another strikeout. It's mano a mano here.
Well, here at McKeithen Stadium this year, the Gators are 28-5. They're hitting .314 in this ballpark. Dogs get a couple of righties going out there in the bullpen. Zach Christofac and Tony Losi, who have also worked this weekend. They're warming now. Two-hopper chopper to Shepard. 2 away. 7 in a row have been retired by Kevin Smith.
Well, I think Scott Strickland has made the right decision to move this guy back in the rotation. You know, there's a lot of teams in the Southeastern Conference that we see on a weekly basis TBA on Sunday. You see a lot of it. And I want to say, if I thought I saw that correctly, Tennessee was TBA on Friday.
Well, I always say it's better to be TBA than MIA. But I get your point.
Yeah.
Will Dalton, 16 home runs. Matter of fact, the Gators right now, it's the first time since 2011, been 7 seasons since the Gators have had 3 players with 10 or more home runs. That year in 2011, also a team that went to Omaha, Austin Maddox had 17, Matt Dendecker had 13, and Preston Tucker had 11. Little cue shot, and look at the spin on it. Ball's out into right field. A base hit for Dalton, who looks like a line drive in the box score.
Yeah, he needed that. And they play a lot of the Gator hitters way up the middle, at least at second base. He couldn't even find it at first. It hit off the end of it. See where they played their second baseman towards the bag? So there's always going to be a hole to that right side. And it's actually worked out for him a couple of times where that second baseman shaded towards the bag.
You know, I mentioned those 3 players from 2011, Maddox, Dendecker, and Tucker. Those 3 accounted for 41 home runs. This year, with India at 16, Dalton at 16, and Schwartz with 12, that's 44 home runs, 3 home runs more, with still anywhere from 15 to 20 games remaining. Langworthy, first pitch swinging, ends the inning. No runs, a hit, a Gator left. We go to the 7th with Georgia leading it 4-1. Top of the 7th, Gators trailing at 4-1. And for the Bulldogs, it'll be the 2, 3, and 4 hitters with Aaron Shunk, Keegan McGovern, and Michael Curry. Georgia got 3 runs today in the 3rd. Another run in the 4th. Florida's only run today was in the 2nd. A 1-0 lead for the Gators, now a 4-1 lead for Georgia.
Mick, it's one of those games where, okay, it's settled in. Smith is dominating. Pressure here on Baker. He's got to throw the 0 up there. And Gators got to fight off some pitches and get Smith out of the game somehow, some way.
That's a solid base hit for Shunk, his 2nd hit of this game. And now Shunk with 4 hits in the series, already crafting a 19-game hitting streak. Georgia has out-hit the Gators big today, 10-3 for the Dogs. So here is Keegan McGovern. 2 hits and 3 at-bats. Gator bullpen busy. Hunter McMullen is throwing down there. So that was a bat handle. Pop up, and Baker showing his athleticism. Runs about 90 feet off the mound to make the catch in front of the dugout.
This is one of those rare times where I think the right guy went after the ball. A lot of times you don't want the pitcher involved. This kid's a great athlete, also plays outfield. So when you have that going for you, he knows exactly how to attack a pop-up like that. That's usually not the case from the mound, but you're talking about an outfielder / pitcher. Yeah, he played that just like an outfielder and knew to turn around. That's good stuff.
He had a big out from a dangerous hitter. And you don't write this in your scorecard very often, FP1.
Yeah, that's right. Foul pop to the pitcher. Yeah. You come to the ballpark, you say, I haven't seen that before.
And I wrote FP1 and I put a little star by it too, because
absolutely.
I think that was a star-worthy play. Curry has a single sandwiched between a pair of outs. Curry drove in 5 runs for a career high in the season opening game against Georgia Southern, highlighted by a grand slam home run. Long foul down the left side. Curry is from Gainesville, Georgia. Born on the 4th of July in 1997. Put together a 14-game hitting streak last year. They got the runner picked now.
Already, Deacon Lippett made the signal to challenge. And what Shunk did, he took his arm away so that the tag wasn't going to be made. It's actually a very smart play on a play where you're picked off. Let's see, he's going to watch. He's going to take his arm out of there, and there's a chance he may have been safe. I mean, that was a very nifty slide. Let's see where his right hand is. That's going to be the key. I think he's safe. I think that was a good call. What he did with his left, now watch what he does with his left hand. He gets it out of the way. I think they're going to keep that a stolen base.
Well, the umpires have gone below to take a look at it.
I mean, it was a nifty, nifty slide, and it's something very difficult to do when you do head first. But he had the presence of mind to take that left arm, stick it in the air, which made Deacon Lippett have to reach an extra half second here. And now where's the right hand when that tag's being made? Now he's safe. Great play.
Nick, you've coached base running forever.
Yep.
What percentage of the time do you teach sliding headfirst into a base?
Well, I don't. I never tell guys that, hey, look, if you do it, fine. If that's what you learn, you can't change. But the reason why I teach feet first is because you have more variations like this. Now, I've seen a lot of games of baseball through the years, and rarely do you see a headfirst slide baseball player make that kind of an adjustment. That is I'm tipping my cap to what he did, because I think he's safe on this play based on, look, his hand's in there and the tag's not even made. So, yeah, I always teach foot first, because in that scenario, you know, you could slide by the base, grab it with your hand, you know. So he's going to be safe. I just think it was a great slide.
Here's the crew chief,
Yeah,
Jeff Head.
Yeah, right call.
Stolen base.
And you tip your cap. I mean, and what really hurts in that scenario is he's picked off. So at this level, when you're picked off 9 out of 10 times, you know, maybe 90 out of 102, you know, it's whatever, you're out. But it was that slide right there. Let's see if that comes out to be a big play here.
So runner at second for Georgia now, 1 away. The count 2 balls, 2 strikes on Michael Curry.
And you feel bad for Baker because he picked him off. But he's got to pitch on.
Georgia ranks 9th in the SEC in stolen bases, 42 out of 55.
I just want to go back to that play one more time. I mean, the pickoff was there, so that wasn't That was correct. Lippett did nothing wrong. He got the throw. The throw was on time. Just a great reaction. There, that's good. The throw here is good. The tag puts it down. He's not expecting a head-first slide guy to do that. When's the last time he saw somebody do that? Besides, probably never. So he wasn't ready for it. Yeah. It's the old swim move. I like it.
So Georgia now threatening again here in the 7th with runners at first and second and one away for Adam Sasser, who singled into right field his last at bat. Sasser hitting .322. He began this series as the top hitter on the Georgia team. He was 0 for 7 coming into this game today. Both Sasser's parents and his grandfather, all Georgia alums. Sasser hit 2 home runs in a loss to the College of Charleston last year. 2 balls, 1 strike. Hit to left, and there's Langworthy. 2 out. Comes Kevin O'Sullivan. They have a right-hand hitter coming up, so that's likely to be it for Andrew Baker. So a new pitcher will come into the game. As you see Baker leaving. Did a nice job when he came on with 1 out of the 5th. So we'll tell you about the new pitcher right after this. Top of the 7th inning continuing.
That's Joanne Smith, Gator great journalism law professor for many, many years. One of my professors, my favorite. And she does not miss a game here. She's been coming to games since I played here. Gave her a little trinket, a little autographed ball, thanking her for, you know, the professors here don't get enough credit. And she was one of the best. And she does not miss a game, Nick. She's here every game. And one of the best professors this school has ever had. Joanne Smith.
She's the talk of the section now.
Yeah. I don't know if she's showing the hot dog or the ball. There you go.
Well, here now is Cam Shepard, with Shunk at second and Curry at first, and 2 away. In the 2 losses for Georgia Friday and Saturday, the Dogs were 3 for 18 with runners in scoring position. But today, 2 for 7. And leading at 4-1 on the strength of the 3-run home run by Keegan McGovern, his 14th of the year.
I mean, this is a big hold situation right here for McMullen. How about an SEC game? Your team is scuffling at the plate, only 3 hits in 6 innings, and you're down 3. Facing a confident group of hitters.
Looking ahead to the bottom of the inning for Florida, they'll have 7, 8, and 9. Bottom third with Smith, Reese, and Horvath due up. One ball, 2 strikes. Hunter McMullen ready. This is fouled out of play on the right side. The attendance today has been announced. It's 4,135. That's the smallest crowd of the weekend here on this Sunday and Mother's Day, 4,135, and it brings the series total this weekend here at McKeithen Stadium to 14,035. 14,035 the weekend attendance.
I mean, it's funny, you're looking right here at this battery. I mean, this is basically the future of Gator baseball. Young pitcher, freshman catcher. He just misses this, fights it off, stays alive.
That comes in and hits him. A 1-2 pitch that gets away from Hunter McMullen and loads up the bases. Now here is L.J. Talley, who just might have a flashback running through his mind.
Yeah. Yeah, he's saying, you know what? Could I hit 2 grand slams in a weekend? Well, he
you wouldn't blame him if he had a big home run cut, would you?
Right, and he's not going to face McMullen. Like Jordan Butler, one would think, if they're doing the left-on-left thing.
Well, obviously, Sully had hoped that Hunter McMullen would get the right-hander Shepard to win the inning. Make the decision a lot easier going to the 8th, but now he's in this situation with the bases loaded and still just 2 out.
I don't think he's made the signal yet. So, is he gonna? No, he's going with the lefty.
So Hunter McMullen exits, and here comes Jordan Butler to go left on left in a moment. Gators hope to be successful there as the #1 seed. In all likelihood, they have a share of the league championship now. And magic number to claim an outright title, either a win today or a future loss by Arkansas. As you look at Jordan Butler in a left on left, Butler to work against Talley. Jordan Butler worked 1 inning, the 8th inning on Friday night, through 21 pitches.
And he's just been sparkling this year. A very reliable lefty that Kevin O'Sullivan can throw him for 1 hitter, multiple innings. Very versatile. May see him in the rotation down the road. I wouldn't be surprised to see a left wage Butler as part of the rotation next year. Dyson.
Now 2 balls, 1 strike. Talley has had a hit in all 3 of the games, with the big hit coming Friday night in the grand slam fashion. Out to Langworthy, and Georgia leaves 3 more. The Bulldogs have left 9 on base. Time for the 7th inning stretch with the Gators trailing it 4-1. Bottom half of the 7th, Georgia leading it 4-1, thanks to the left arm of Kevin Smith, who has been outstanding today for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, one of the best starts we've seen from an opposing pitcher this year. Here at Perry Field, McKeithen Stadium, and the slider has been really the pitch of dominance here today. His bottom falling out, back foot, back door, he's doing it all.
He has struck out 6 while walking 3. He's thrown 96 pitches, and 56 have been in the strike zone. So Brady Smith followed by Blake Reese and then Nick Horvath. The Gators handcuffed today so far. After winning the first 2 games of the series. Thrilling 7-6 ninth inning win Friday night. A 4 home run, 9-3 effort to win yesterday. Smith nothing for 2. 297 average. The longest Kevin Smith has gone in his career is 7 2/3 innings. Against Charlotte, March 19th of 2016 in Charlotte. At 7 2/3 innings. His most strikeouts is 9. That came out of the bullpen on April 3rd against Georgia Tech. Today he struck out 6 in 6 innings.
Yeah, Casey Mize had a great start against the Gators here, but lost the game. Blaine Knight from Arkansas beat the Gators here. 6 2/3, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 4 walks, 10 strikeouts. That was back on March 23rd, the Friday night game.
That ball lined to left and right at McGovern. So the leadoff batter retired here in the 7th. By the way, Georgia has a defensive replacement as Patrick Sullivan is playing at first base now. Sullivan over at first for Georgia, replacing Adam Sasser. Now Blake Reese.
Yeah.
The Bulldogs this year 29-5 in games in which they out-hit the opponent. They've out-hit Florida today 10-3. And they out-hit the Gators also on the game yesterday. The 11 hits to 10. Through the first 2 games, the hits were even at 20 each. The Dogs had one 7 of 8 before getting into town. Shunk to Sullivan, 2 gone. By the way, we mentioned the Gator would love to have an outright league title secured here today, but unless they rally, they're going to need help, but they're not getting it. Bottom of the 6th inning at Fayetteville at Baum Stadium. Arkansas leads Texas A&M. The Razorbacks 4, the Aggies 1. Yesterday, Arkansas moved in front of Georgia for the second best record in the SEC as the Hogs lead in the West. They began league play today a half game ahead of Ole Miss. Ole Miss is the hottest team in the league. They'd won 4 in a row. Yesterday they beat Auburn 10-3. They beat Auburn 8-3 on Friday.
Yeah, Ole Miss is a team that a lot of people thought was really going to challenge for the SEC championship based on the fact that solid offense but a great pitching staff.
Yeah.
Ole Miss beat Auburn Thursday to begin that series 5-4. So they swept the 3 games at Swayze Field there in Oxford. One and 2 on Horvath, who's 0 for 2 in the game.
And now, if you're a Gator fan, you just start looking at that pitch count for Kevin Smith, which is now at 111. One would think this is his last inning. And that would be good riddance for as far as the Gators are concerned.
And a chopper out to the shortstop, Cam Shepard. And if in fact it was Kevin Smith's last inning, he is going strong. Leaves the mound after retiring the Gators in order. And after 7 complete, it's the Dogs 4 and the Gators 1. Top half of the 8th. Kevin Smith outstanding today. And here's his line. 112 pitches he threw, 7 innings, 3 hits. The run was earned. Walked 3, struck out 6. Stands to win this game to raise his record to 7 victories and 1 defeat. It sure looked like when he came off the mound with all the high fives that he was exiting the game. But for the Gators, entering the game, Michael Byrne to get some Sunday work, and he'll come on here in the top of the 8th, and it will be the 3rd straight pitcher for the Gators against the 3rd straight hitter for Georgia. Byrne, though, is only half of the new battery for the Gators, because with Byrne pitching, Cal Greenfield comes off the bench to do the catching, so he's the 3rd Gator catcher in the game. Hunter McMullen worked to Cam Shepard, and then Butler worked on L.J. Talley, and now here's Byrne working on Mason Meadows in the 8th spot, leading off the 0-2.
So what you're saying is 3 different pitchers for the last 3 hitters.
Yeah.
And it all worked because it's still 4-1.
A little defensive swing, which is usually the case so often for hitters against Byrne.
Can't square the guy up. He'll start you off strike 1. Same unassuming poise that he has. It's no big deal. I'm just getting outs in the SEC and continuing my dominance.
Tucker Maxwell will hit now in the 9 spot for Georgia. Maxwell hitting .225, a couple of homers, 13 RBI. Batting in the place of Webb.
I'm so glad we get to see Michael Byrne here today. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen in the draft. This could possibly be his last appearance in a regular season game at this ballpark.
Maxwell was on a team that won the Connie Mack World Series in 2015 from Dawsonville, Georgia. Last year he was part of a team best 19-game on-base streak that he had. He hit 177 on the year, but found a way to get on base all those times.
And Scott Strickland said he was going to use him in the event. He was going to use him in the event the game was close or they had the lead, because he was got a hamstring issue that he's dealing with right now. But he knew how big a game this was, did Coach Strickland. He was talking about RPIs, and now Warren Nolan, who does baseball, college baseball RPIs, you go to his website, he says they actually have 2 different kind of RPIs, and one against top competition and one overall. And you know, they're feeling good about their chances to host, but this, if they can hang on here, would be huge.
C.J. Smith, 1 for 4 today. 3rd inning single, a 4th inning ground out, which drove in a run. We're here in the 8th. Gators have a streak on the line, too, against Georgia. Florida has won 7 consecutive games, and Florida has won 12 of the last 14 in this series. With a win yesterday, it gave the Gators their 5th straight series victory over Georgia.
And Sully's dominance. He's now 26-8 against the Bulldogs.
Foul back.
It's funny, when I was playing here for Jay Bergman, his brother-in-law, Roy Umstead, was the head coach at Georgia. So it was the rivalry on top of the rivalry.
Popped up. There'll be a play. India. 2 out. Byrne worked the 9th inning on Friday night. Faced 4 batters and threw a total of 10 pitches.
And this is a guy that one would think is going to come in if they have the lead in the 9th inning to close it, if not sometime in the 8th.
Aaron Shunk, 2 for 4 today. With a 19-game hitting streak. Been a good week for him. He had a home run at SunTrust Park on Tuesday night as Georgia beat Georgia Tech for the 6th consecutive meeting. Shunk last year, he missed the final 17 games of 2017. He had a broken thumb.
Shunk's just one of those guys you know is going to play at the next level. Look at the numbers.
Yeah, look at the body too. 6'2".
Yeah. Oh yeah, it all plays.
He's 203. He can easily carry 210, 215 even. He gets a little bigger, a little stronger. Just a sophomore. Won 2 state titles playing high school baseball in the Atlanta area.
Yeah, in a world where baseball still gets, 11.7 scholarships, which is amazing, but they deal with it. These guys are like 2-1 for sure, just from a scholarship standpoint.
And for those people who have heard us talk about over the years 11.7 scholarships and wondered, how do you get to 11.7? Well, it was a generation or so ago when there was 13 scholarships, and then there was an across-the-board 10% reduction in the scholarships of baseball, and hence we sit at 11.7. And there are some players on some teams that are recruited as recruited walk-ons, if you will.
Yeah.
With the what you're going to get are books and directions.
Yeah, right.
Here's your books. There's the chemistry building.
Well, case in point, Michael Byrne was a preferred walk-on. 2 years ago he was. And here's the thing: these college baseball coaches, you got to recruit a kid twice. You got to recruit them to come to your program against all the top programs in the nation. Now, then you're going to have to battle 30 major league teams that are going to be giving the guy money and putting the dream of being a major league baseball player in your head. You got to re-recruit him after he gets drafted. It's one of the toughest jobs.
Yeah, and for a guy like Byrne and other juniors, professional baseball want to throw money at him, and so you got to almost hope to get him back for a senior year. Right at the fence, Will Dalton retires Aaron Shunk. No runs, a walk, 1 man left. Georgia stranding 10 runners, but leading the game today 4-1. Georgia brings in a new pitcher here in the last half of the 8th inning, holding a 4-1 lead on a day in which Kevin Smith was outstanding, giving the Gators just 3 hits. And now they hand the ball to the Roswell, Georgia freshman Ryan Webb.
Yeah, and notice, left-eater, stand left-handed on the mound because they knew how successful Kevin Smith was. In fact, Ryan Webb was the guy that got flip-flopped. He was the starter. Smith was put back in the bullpen, and they just changed him up, and now he's going to finish, at least pitch this inning, the 8th inning. And Scott Strickland says, okay, lefty, we're doing well right now with our lefties against the Gator hitters. We'll just keep at it. And you would think to see Shunk sometime in the 9th inning. I'll keep an eye on him between innings, especially if they have the lead. Plenty of time to get loose next inning as he just hit.
Ryan Webb has 1 win on the season, the Georgia pitcher. 1-5. He got that as a starter on March 25th against South Carolina. That day he went 6 innings, no runs, 2 hits with 7 strikeouts. It's his only win of the year. He last pitched on April 29th against Tennessee, going 3 innings, giving up 3 hits, 4 runs, no decision.
And just a freshman. We'll see how he handles it. They describe him as a confident young man, but he's a mid-80s guy, mid to upper 80s, so the velocity is not as hard as they've been facing.
Yeah.
Lippett 0 for 3. And Lippett strikes out for the 3rd time today.
Well, I stand corrected. That was 92. So he's going 88 to 92 in that fastball, so he's definitely around the velo that we just saw at Kevin Smith. Just the only difference is the arm angle's a little off.
The Gators have been limited to 3 hits today, and they have a streak in jeopardy. The Gators have at least 1 extra base hit in all 52 games played this year. Today, a 2nd inning single, a 3rd inning single, and a 6th inning single, and that's it. There's only been a less than 5 games this year where the Gators have not doubled in a game. Gators came into this game having hit a home run in 4 games in a row. They'd hit 8 home runs in the last 4 games. They've homered in 17 of the last 19 games. But today, 3 singles, and the only run they got came via a leadoff walk to Dalton in the 2nd.
I think you almost have to take here, don't you? You need base runners. And Maldonado's the kind of guy who can fight stuff off.
Fly ball to left. Described as a can of corn. Right into the apron of Aunt Minnie.
Sam Drucker used to use that too. The general store.
Well, you know, back in the day, and I lived this. When I was growing up, my grandparents lived on the farm, and the cellar, you had to go out, open the doors outside, and then go down these steps onto a dirt floor. The basement was a dirt floor, and there's where she kept on the shelf all of her canned vegetables. And she would can, my grandmother, and you know, she would reach up there and flip one down into her apron. It was a can of corn. Patrick Sullivan. And so Ryan Webb retires the Gators in order. And after 8 innings at the McKeithen Stadium, Georgia leading it 4-1. Well, here's the strength of the Southeastern Conference this year. The Gators overall #1 RPI, Arkansas at 4, Georgia at 5, Ole Miss at 7. And you know the league's pretty tough when LSU is at 50. At the bottom of the top 50 listing. Will Dalton, flashing leather, out there in right center field. Gets a nice round of applause.
Will's played a lot of center field in his career. He shows why. This thing looked like it's destined for at least a double. Yeah, look at Michael Byrne. Yeah, that's a couple of good swings they've gotten on Michael today. Last out and that one right there. Not used to seeing contact that good. That's how spoiled we've become.
Michael Curry fouls the first pitch back.
Arkansas still leading Texas A&M, top of the 7th. A&M mounting a little bit of a rally, 2 on, 1 out. You know what I like right there? Nice job, Cal Greenfield. Pitch in the dirt. He didn't swing at it, but he still went after it. Kept it in front, working hard, didn't get lazy. Oh, spoke too soon. Tried a backhand one right after that.
Right in there. Second time Curry has been caught looking today.
And he knew it. Watching Curry's reaction. He drops that one in. See, he catches it around shin level, but it came in thigh level. The hitter knows it. He knows he's going to get rung up.
That's the 8th Bulldog to strike out today. Here's Patrick Sullivan batting in the place of Sasser. Sullivan hitting .220, 4 RBI.
And he's their guy that they use in defense late in the ball game, especially when they have to lead.
Sullivan had a hit yesterday and drove in 2 runs. It's the only hit he has had since April 14th. Looking ahead to the bottom of the 9th inning, it'll be the 4, 5, and 6 hitters for the Gators. Gators' only run today came on an RBI ground out. Here's Langworthy. Byrne gets some 1, 2, 3 on the 9th, but now the Gators need 3 to tie and 4 to win. It's the last half of the 9th inning. Georgia holding a 4-1 lead here at McKeithen Stadium. With Nick Belmonte, Mick Hubert here at the ballpark, and again we give you our heartfelt thanks for being with us not only today but all season long, Nick, as we've been streaming Florida Gator baseball.
Yeah, in our 29th year, can't wait for year 30. Working with this guy is an absolute treat. If you ever get an opportunity, I recommend it. I've been blessed to be with Mick Hubert for 29 years calling Gator baseball.
Nick, thank you so much. No, I really enjoyed every game working with you. And of course, when I came on, I think you'd been in the booth a year or two prior to that. 2 years prior to that. So it's been great. And gee, who would have thought that 29 seasons together in the TV broadcast booth?
Absolutely.
Amazing, really. And I've been so blessed to be a part of all of this, all of these years. Well, here in the last of the 9th, Aaron Schunk has moved off third base and now comes in to close the game for Georgia in his 17th appearance of the year on the mound.
Yeah, and he's been their guy. And what I like to see, those are like Byrne-like numbers when you look at the base on balls, the innings pitched. He makes you earn it. And he was the guy on the mound when Will Dalton hit the sacrifice fly walk-off the other night, but was put in a really tough situation. Talley moves from second to third.
Trey Logan goes into play at second base in light of these changes.
And this is something, the moves that they've made all year when Shunk comes in to close.
So here's J.J. Schwartz.
But how about this? The Gators see a right-hander finally.
Schwartz is 0 for 3. Trying to cool him off. He's been so hot for the Gators. Even with an 0 for 3 today, he's hitting .500 in his last 9 games. He has that 8-game hitting streak on the line. 17 hits in his last 34 at-bats. JJ's career high hit streak is 12 games. Did that his freshman year. He hit .532 in a 12-game hitting streak then, 25 of 47. It came on May 16th. It lasted until June 15th, 2015. Schwartz to be followed by Dalton and then Langworthy. And they'll need more than that if they're going to avoid a loss here today. And if the Gators lose today, that will be, and I say this word delicately, but they'll be a rather pedestrian 5-4 in Game 3 of the league series.
Yep.
So if the league's looking for any hope, once you look at Singer and Kowar, you have to think, hey, we've got a lot better chance now. Of course, there have been a lot of teams that have gone a long way with 2 great aces starting and a great closer finishing. And that's 1 out, and the hit streak for Schwartz is likely to have ended at 8 in a row.
Well, this will not be his last at bat at the Keithan Stadium, as the regionals are a couple weeks away.
Will Dalton singled in the 6th, a little cue shot that spun out into right field. He scored the Gators' only run. First pitch swinging here. The right fielder, C.J. Smith. And the Gators are down to their final out right now. Austin Langworthy comes up.
Well, looking along these lines, Gators need 2 guys to get on and bring the tie run to the plate. So just start doing the math. A game where they've been stymied offensively.
Langworthy has reached base twice today, had a single in the 2nd. One of just 3 Florida hits in this game. He walked in the 4th, grounded out to the shortstop in the 6th inning. This should do it. As Tucker Maxwell runs it down, the Gators went out 10 consecutive hitters to finish the ball game. As Georgia salvages the final game in the series, Georgia improving now to 35-16. The Dogs go 16-11 in the league. Florida at 41-12, 20-7 in conference play. One more league weekend to go at Mississippi State for Florida on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And then for Georgia coming up on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, they'll be back home at Foley Field to take on Arkansas. So